Ah, Detroit, Pearl of the Orient.
See, when I was growing up, playing video games wasn't exactly the cool thing to admit. Back then, if anybody called you a video game nerd, that was fighting words. Nowadays, somebody says, "Hey, you're a video game nerd." You say, "That's right, I am a video game nerd, and your mama like it good." So back in those days, I had a 3DO. I was the only kid I knew that had a 3DO, but anybody who ever came over my house, they were used to Sonic and Mario, but when they saw Gex, they were blown away. Nobody had ever seen anything like that. Gex had a whole lot of character, had all these one-liners, a little kind of some dirty jokes here and there. It was really, really cool. A lot of attitude. The gameplay was really good and the graphics were better than anything at that time. I would love for them to bring this franchise back. Even if they did like an HD remix kind of thing, it would be great. But right now, if you have a PS3, I highly recommend you go on PSN and download it right now.
Into the garbage chute, flyboy.
Earthworm Jim, a difficult but incredible platformer, a little bit of cray-cray and a whole lot of grooviness. The unique character design, stage design, and overall humor of the game really made it stand out in its time, and it still stands out today. The only thing that might deter you is the difficulty, but if that's not a problem for you, I would pick it up. It's on Xbox Live and PSN. Another video game system that I'm the only person I knew that had it in my neighborhood was the TurboGrafx 16. I had a lot of fun with that system. Anything from China Warrior, Splatterhouse, Vigilante, Legendary Axe. But, of course, the showcase game was a platformer and it was Bonk's Adventure. I mean, what could be better? An undersized caveman that uses his big head and whacks anything in sight. I mean, what can be better than taking out your frustrations, banging it out with your big head? Bonk's Adventure, a classic. Check it out. Donkey Kong was originally a bad guy, and he was also a rip-off of King Kong. But regardless of those facts, Donkey Kong is a beloved franchise and one of the best video game mascots in the world and one of the most recognizable video game characters ever. If any old school franchise 2D games or side-scrollers that I would love to see updated to 3D, it would be this franchise. I think jumping on trees and through barrels in the 3D world would be really cool. For a character that doesn't talk a lot and is totally obsessed with big bananas, I would say he's quite appealing. Okay, that was pretty bad. If you've never played a Donkey Kong game and you're interested in picking up a Wii U, Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze is highly recommended. Mega Man, a robot that shoots other robots and takes their powers. What a great franchise and a great character. Unfortunately, we have not seeing a really good Mega Man in the last few years. Given all of the reboots and remakes and HD remixes and everything that Capcom is known for, you would think that we would have had a classic Mega Man game with HD graphics and maybe have every single robot from every old Mega Man and every single stage from at least Mega Man 1, 2, and 3. Something like that. Capcom, you gotta give us something because we've been waiting a long time for this. If I had to give a recommendation as to which Mega Man you should play, without a doubt it would be Mega Man 2. I think it had great music, the difficulty was just right, and it was a lot of fun. The robots were really cool too. You would not be watching this top 10 if you didn't know who Pac-Man is. While Pac-Man isn't the first video game created, I would say that Pac-Man is really the first video game character, at least the most recognizable character. And who would ever thought, after all these years, that simple design of pretty much a circle or a pie shape would be so popular, so famous, so significant to our culture. Video games have influenced so many things when it comes to our culture. It could be movies, it could be the internet. I would argue without Pac-Man, maybe none of this would exist. Maybe YouTube wouldn't exist. I can say for sure you wouldn't be listening to me now if there was no Pac-Man. You can go on Xbox Live or PSN and download the newest version of Pac-Man, which is Pac-Man Championship Edition DX. And I challenge you, if you're on Xbox Live, to look up Mastermind and see if you can top my score. And yes, that is a challenge. The first time I played Rayman was back on the Atari Jaguar. What a crappy system, but this was a great game for a crappy system. Back then, I was really intrigued with the character, but I really wasn't able to get into it until I got it on the Sega Saturn. And from that moment on, I was hooked with the character and the whole concept, the artwork, everything about Rayman I've loved ever since that day. If you think about it, I don't even know what the hell Rayman is. Is it a man? Is it a dog? Is it a rat? It doesn't have any legs. It doesn't have any arms. It only has feet, a torso, and a head. It's kind of crazy if you think about it. My daughter says he's a dog crossed with a human. That is some really freaky stuff right there. But I guess that's one of the things that makes this character really unique and one of the top video game mascots of all time. If I had to recommend any Rayman game, it would be the newest one, Rayman Legends. It has pretty much everything that Rayman Origins had. I wouldn't go to any of the original Rayman games because they're brutally difficult and you're probably going to end up breaking your controller. So definitely check out Rayman Legends. Link, one of the greatest video game mascots ever. Link is, of course, a character in the Zelda franchise. I've always felt that Nintendo has made Link take a backseat to not only Mario but Zelda. But despite that, Link has been collecting rupees since the original NES. Of all the characters on this list, I would say that the Zelda games are probably overall the best games. I can't remember ever playing a bad Zelda game. If I had to recommend a game of the series, there's a lot to choose from, but my favorite one by far is Zelda Ocarina of Time. It originally debuted on the Nintendo 64. I'm sure most of us don't have access to get a Nintendo 64, but fortunately, Nintendo redid it on the 3DS, and it was really amazing. Back in the day, when I first got my Genesis and had a chance to play Sonic the Hedgehog, I was completely blown away by the fast gameplay and the character design. He had so much swag, so much attitude, so different than the NES games that I had been playing up until that point. Sonic the Hedgehog blew everything out the water and, in my opinion, has changed video games forever. Because I remember after that, every single video game company was trying to create a mascot with some kind of attitude or some kind of humor. If it wasn't Bubsy, or even games that I enjoy like Rayman or Earthworm Jim, I don't think any of those kind of crazy characters would have ever come out if it wasn't for Sonic. Unfortunately, it's not all good for the Blue Hedgehog. Over the years, there have been a lot of oversaturating as far as the different kind of Sonic games and different kind of gameplays. None of them really lived up to the original three that were on the Genesis. I would say that Episode 1 was pretty good, the Sonic the Hedgehog, and also Sonic Generations. I really enjoyed Sonic Generations. That's the footage you're looking at right now. But other than that, there have been quite a few disappointments. Sonic Colors was pretty good as well, along with Sonic CD. There have been so many of them that you almost kind of lose track. And that's unfortunate because I think the character and the world and design and everything around it is really spectacular. It's unfortunate that a lot of the games haven't quite lived up to the standards set by the first couple of games. If you're looking to get into a Sonic the Hedgehog game, I would recommend to play Sonic Generations. That is available on the Xbox 360 as well as the PS3. They really did a good job with that game. It really has the feel of the original 2D games as well as the Sonic Adventure games. I recently did a video talking about what I think Sega should do to fix the Sonic series. But aside from a couple of missteps here and there, you can't argue that Sonic the Hedgehog is one of the most recognizable video game characters ever.
My mind said, I'm one of a kind. Open eyes, show the world and fly. Leave my legacy before I die. Reasons why, yo, this treachery been left behind. To another, or regrets be lies. Show the world we lie.
Really, was there any surprise? Was there any doubt whatsoever that the number one classic mascot character was none other than Mario? Just like Pac-Man, we wouldn't have video games as we know them today if it wasn't for Mario. There have been so many Mario games, Mario sequels, Mario RPG, Mario Kart, Mario Tennis. Mario was in Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. Mario was in that shitty movie with Fred Savage. Mario's just been everywhere. Just to put it in perspective, my grandmother used to play Mario. My kids play Mario. Everyone knows who Mario is. Trying to describe what Mario has meant to the video game industry is almost impossible. I would say that video games and Super Mario is just synonymous. Everybody equates the two. You can't think of video games, even today, without thinking about Mario. It's just the way it is. It's had a profound impact even on my life. I remember playing it as a child, and that's all I wanted to do. I didn't want to go outside. I didn't even want to eat. I didn't want to sleep. I just wanted to play Super Mario. That's what this franchise has done for millions of people. And despite a lot of the rehashing and copying and pasting, a lot of the games are kind of similar in their different franchises, whether it's Smash Brothers or Mario Kart. Despite all of that, or any criticisms anybody can have, you have to admit the staying power that the character Mario has had over the years really hasn't diminished over the years. If anything, it's gotten quite a bit stronger. I mean, he must be the greatest. His name starts with the letter M. He's Michael Jordan. He's Mickey Mouse. He's Michael Jackson. He's Muhammad Ali. He's the one and only Mario. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And leave a comment. Maybe I missed out on one of your favorite characters. Mastermind out.